What up, fam? Welcome back to Hashtag Cooking, y'all. Back with another recipe video. Today I'm going to be making some Chick-Fil-A nuggets, Chick-Fil-A style nuggets my way, y'all. While we get in the video, I just ask that you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, set your notification bell on, and y'all remember to hit that like button. All right, so I'm just going to start out slicing up my chicken breast, y'all. I use chicken breasts that I had cut away all the excess fat and just cleaned them pretty well just to make sure that I got some nice clean cuts here, y'all. I'm going to dice them up into about inch and a half pieces. You're gonna use about 2 pounds of chicken breast for this recipe. I'm gonna use more, but I'm gonna give you the recipe for about 2 pounds. So like I said, inch and a half pieces is what you're going for. In a bowl, go ahead and put those back in and add in about a cup of buttermilk, a cup of, what's this stuff I'm putting? Pickle juice. I couldn't get it out. A cup of buttermilk, a cup of pickle juice is going to be half and half brine. And you're going to add about a third cup of hot sauce to that. This hot sauce is not going to make it hot, y'all. This is for a regular Chick-Fil-A nugget style. I will make a spicy video for you. And then you're going to add in, I added in some onion powder, approximately about 3-4 tablespoons of onion powder. And I'm going to go on with this Tony Chacher's Bold just for somewhat of a kick, but it's not really going to make them that spicy at all. Just going to do something for the flavor of the nuggets themselves. I used about 4 tablespoons of that as well. Then I'm going to mix this in pretty good. Y'all remember that's for the recipe for the size that I'm using, so you can probably use about 2 tablespoons of the Tony and 2 to 3 tablespoons of the onion powder. And I'm just gonna mix that up pretty well, get it all incorporated. Then I'm gonna cover it with some saran wrap, and I'm gonna place it in the refrigerator for at least 2 hours, y'all. But overnight if you can, because the brine is really gonna help get in there and make this as really flavorful, and it's what gives it the Chick-Fil-A taste. The pickle juice is really what does it. All right, y'all. So right here, I'm gonna go ahead while that's brining. I'm just gonna go ahead and get my sauce started because I brined this overnight. I also am gonna go ahead and build my Chick-fil-A sauce, copycat, and let it sit overnight just so that the flavors can marry and come together. I started off, y'all, with about 2/3 cup of mayo. I use Hellmann's. I like to use Duke's, but whenever I'm making like a different style of sauce, I go ahead and I'll use Hellmann's just because Hellmann's has somewhat of a lighter flavor. If I'm not using Duke's mayo, I'm using Hellmann's anyway, just because those are the top 2 mayonnaises in my book. So I started out with that 2/3 cup of mayonnaise. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add in my barbecue sauce. Gonna add approximately 3 tablespoons of barbecue sauce. I'm using Sweet Baby Ray's. You can use whatever barbecue sauce you have on hand. Then I'm gonna go in with the Dijon mustard. I used about 4 to 5 tablespoons of it. 4 tablespoons really should be enough. And then I'm gonna go in with my honey next. You need at least 5 tablespoons of honey. This is really what's gonna give it that taste. It's gonna help tone down the flavors of that barbecue sauce and the raw yellow mustard, which I put in right then, which I only used about 2 tablespoons of it, maybe a little less. And but doing this recipe, I realized that the honey is really what tames everything, because the Dijon, the barbecue sauce, and the regular yellow mustard can be pretty strong and overpowering. Like I said, and if you use a stronger mayonnaise like Duke's, then all those flavors will be very strong, and so the honey really works to tame and bring them in. After that, I'm gonna go ahead and add in some lemon juice, y'all. About 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. You also don't want to be too heavy-handed with the lemon juice as well, because it will change the flavor of the sauce completely if you have too much. And then I just added a dash of paprika and went and began to whisk this all together just until I had that cohesive sauce. Boom. Like that. It looks just like Chick-fil-A sauce. Trust me, it tastes just like it as well. I promise you. This is probably one of the best parts about this recipe, is because, yeah, the sauce. All right, y'all. So this is the next day. We're about to get ready to fry my nuggets up in grocery bags. You can do this in a Ziploc bag if you don't want to be too ghetto. But hey, we grew up shaking chicken around in grocery bags, and you know, this is how I'm gonna combine my breading mixture. So I just started out 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of plain breadcrumbs, not panko, not seasoned Italian style. This is just plain breadcrumbs. Then I'm gonna go in with a couple teaspoons of black pepper, a few teaspoons of paprika, of course. Like I said, listen to the this part. You can pretty much just make the breading as is. I know I told you for the other part that I was giving you a recipe for about 2 pounds, but this isn't going to be too much breading, and you can just follow this exact recipe. So like I said, 2 cups flour, 2 cups plain breadcrumbs, 2 teaspoons black pepper, 3 teaspoons paprika. Then I'm gonna go in with 1.5 tablespoons of salt. Then also you can use a couple tablespoons of garlic powder, and then use 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar. Powdered sugar is also a key ingredient in this. It's not gonna make your nuggets sweet, but if you realize Chick-fil-A does have like a semi-sweet taste to their breading, and that is the really important part to this. So 3 tablespoons powdered sugar. This is my chicken. I've drained it of all the buttermilk pickle juice brine that was on there. I did not pat dry them, but I made sure I drained them and let them sit in the strainer a little bit, because I didn't want to be too wet when I'm going and breading. Y'all, I used the wet hand, dry hand method, meaning I only touch the wet chicken with one hand, my left hand, and then I use my right hand to put the breading on, trying to keep it as dry as possible. That way you reduce less clumps in your breading and your batter. With this, you don't really have to bread them heavily, because Chick-fil-A's nuggets aren't breaded heavily. All I do is toss them around in there like so, just get it on there, and whatever sticks, sticks. Whatever doesn't. It's not that big of a deal. This is a copycat recipe, so even though I took a few liberties, I'm just trying to keep it, you know, close to how theirs would be. All right, y'all, I got my grease. This is about 360 degrees, and I'm gonna just place my chicken pieces in there kind of one by one and kind of spread them out. Y'all, I'm using 2 baskets because I couldn't find my big one, but you kind of want to, you know, you see how I'm like going back and forth on either side, just because I don't want them to stick together. Once they've been in there for a few seconds or whatever, then if they touch, that's fine. But when you initially put them in there, you just kind of want to go side to side and just let them kind of cook away from the other ones, because they will stick together. So just, you know, spread them out initially, and then once you've kind of had them in there a couple seconds, you can kind of go on top of the other ones if you want to add more. It's kind of hard to overcrowd your fry with these. You can do it, but you know, you can kind of like put them on top of each other, and it'll be fine. It will be fine, just as long as you know you still have your grease is still going like this and not slowing down. So you want to fry those for about 10 minutes or so till they're golden brown. If you want an extra crispy nugget, you can fry them for about 10 minutes or so, take them out for a couple minutes, and then drop them back in the fry at 375, and that will make them very crispy, especially if you eat them right away. Just agitate them a little bit so that they don't cook, you know, necessarily right on top of each other and try to stick together. That's how they should look, golden brown. And like I said, you can drop them back in for another few minutes if you like to. Y'all, this is the end product, y'all. Hooked them up with some waffle fries. That's that delicious Chick-fil-A sauce. Thank y'all so much for joining me today, y'all. I really enjoyed this recipe. I want you to try it at home and tell me what you think. Peace.